Hey, and welcome to my new podcast, Phoenix Unleashed. Hey, amazing people, it's Kylie King here, and I hope you're all having an amazing day. I'm generally asked what the most memorable past life or past lives that I've met during all of my sessions. So today I thought it would be an amazing episode to just talk about 3 memorable ones. And honestly, there's more than 3 memorable ones. So there'll probably be a part 2, 3, 5, 7 to this video. But I thought I would just get started today with covering the top 3, I guess, that came to my mind when I thought about this question. So I absolutely love doing past life sessions because I love people's stories. I love hearing people's stories, what their life's involved, what challenges they've overcome, what experiences they had, what successes they had, all of that stuff and in between. I just love it all. So when I started down this path, I didn't know what to expect at all. And I didn't know who I was going to encounter. I didn't even know how the session was going to go. So for some past life sessions, I have clients that totally associate into the past life. So they're talking to me directly as if they are the past life. And in other cases, I have clients who tell me and explain to me what is occurring. So like it's on a movie screen and they're just telling me what's happening in the movie. So I didn't know what to expect. And one of the first sessions I did, I met a lovely lady called Hazel. And she was the past life the client had associated into this lady called Hazel. And it was a very different type of session because this lady that I know, the client that I had dealt with, she's very bubbly and happy and childlike and woo. And Hazel was not a happy lady. She was very abrupt and grumpy and straight to the point. Now, Hazel is at the moment the only past life that has told me to F off. And at one stage, she also did tell the client to unalive herself. Now, Hazel she had a really rough life. She dealt with a lot of stuff. There was a lot of abandonment issues. She was put into a not very nice orphanage when she was a child, where there was abuse that occurred there. She then went on to be a scullery maid, and she did not like what she was doing, but she did what she had to do to survive and to get along. But she was not a very happy chappy or a very happy lady. But I absolutely loved talking to her. I loved that she was abrupt and to the point, that there was no gray with her. It was black or white. Now, she blamed a lot on God. She was not happy. She blamed God for putting her in this situation, that she didn't deserve it, and how dare he to do that. And yeah, as I said, she wasn't a very happy chappy. So what I found the most remarkable about Hazel is that she rolled with the punches. She realized that, things happen and that, bad things happen, and she rolled with them and she dealt with them the best she could. And she left me with an iconic line that I just still makes me smile to this day. So she did spend a lot of her time cursing God about what he had done, the plans, all of that sort of stuff. So when she had gone to her last day of life and she was on her deathbed, and I said to her, okay, Hazel, is there anything, like, are you scared to die? Like, where is it? Where are we going with this? And she's like, I'm not scared to die. It's probably better than what I'm dealing with now. I'm okay. It's fine. And I said, you did spend a lot of your life like cursing God. Do you have any concerns? And she said, I'm going to rock up to those pearly gates anyway. And I'm like, oh, okay. But what happens if you don't get in? And this is the line. And she said, well, if they won't let me in through the front, I will just head around to the back, because I know St. Peter's got me and he'll let me in the back. He'll let me in the back way. And I thought, you know what? I absolutely love that. Where there's a will, there's a way. And it really brought, when I look at the own learning that I got from that session, it was the fact that, sometimes we have to take another route. Sometimes we have to go through a back door or a side entry or something to get to where we want to go. We did find out later that she did have a contract in place when I went through and I was talking to the subconscious directly. She did have a contract in place where she had caused issues with, she'd caused, she'd made a contract that she didn't believe in God. She didn't need God in her life. He wasn't something that she was interested in exploring, which is fine. And we were able to break that because that was actually affecting the client in this life when she was trying to get to know her intuition more, get to know her spirit guides, because she had created that block. So that was all removed. But Hazel's line, whenever I'm feeling tough, whenever I'm feeling like, heads against a wall, don't know where I'm going to go, don't know what I'm going to do, there is always a back way, and I am sure that Peter has my back. All right, so session number 2. So when you're doing a past life session, the biggest thing about having a past life session is to make sure that the conscious mind is not getting involved. Because if the conscious mind starts getting involved, it's going to tell the client that what they're seeing is not correct, they're making it up, all of those sorts of things. And it's not true, but, the conscious mind likes to be in control. So when you're doing a session and you take them through and they're getting to the part where they're jumping into the past life, however that happens, whether they're coming off a cloud or they're opening a door or they're coming out of a maze, however they're coming into that past life, they will generally see something. And to be honest, when I started and people were like, I see nothing, I see black, I see dark, there's nothing, I was like, even myself, I was like, oh no, like they're not seeing anything. It's not happening. Oh my gosh. Now, when they start to see dark, if they start to get a bit stressed about it, or they don't think they're seeing anything, they will start to have this conscious mind come in and take over. Oh, it's not working. It's not working. This isn't, I'm nowhere. So whenever you have darkness, it can actually be something else. And this was the first time that this session was the first time I'd really experienced dark. Now, generally, it can be things like they're in a dark room. They're out somewhere in the darkness of night. In one case later on, I've had where the past life's eyes were closed, and that's why it was dark. Or they're in space or wherever they are. This beautiful client, it was dark because she was in a cave. Now, she was in a cave and it was a very small cave and she felt quite restricted, but we were able to find the light for her to go out. So once she left the cave, I was like, what are you doing in the cave? And she was in the cave to find a special mushroom. Now, this mushroom she used because she was a healer in a tribal village, and she would go into this cave. Not many people knew about her secret cave, and she kept it a secret because of this mushroom. Now, she didn't go too much into the mushroom other than to say that it was really good for curing stuff, and it could make people, if they took too much of the mushroom, actually go a bit loopy. So she likes to keep this cave under wraps, not share it. And it was her like secret, I guess, secret source, secret recipe, secret healing tool that she didn't tell anyone about. So once we were able to come out of this cave, she was able to tell me about her village. We went through about different healing things. She shared with me what else she used in regards to healing. And she really loved cooking. So she'd do a lot of cooking. Sometimes with the mushroom, depending, sometimes not, but with a lot of herbs and spices. And this was really amazing because in her current life, she absolutely loves cooking. She's a beautiful caterer. She makes amazing, amazing food. So it was really good to see that those lives had sort of intertwined. They made sense. And later, that cave ended up saving her. So as we went through the significant lives of this session, of this past life, there was a part when her tribe was under attack from another tribe. Now, she was able to get everyone, or all the women and all the children, and keep them quiet and bring them into the cave. And they were able to stay in the cave until she was told by one of the people that had survived that it was safe to come out. So all of the women and children that had gone into the cave had survived. And unfortunately, those who hadn't made it into the cave had passed on. But that was an absolutely beautiful session. And she took me, it was a bit testing because it was the first time I'd seen Utter Darkness and I could not figure it out. But listening to the way she was so passionate about food and cooking and the importance of using food as medicine is always such an important thing to listen to, because it is medicine. Food is medicine. So watching what you eat is absolutely important. And also a good note to maybe not share your secret stash of psychedelic mushrooms. And for my third session today that I want to share with you, that was the first one that popped up that was most memorable, was a beautiful lady who was an Egyptian priestess. Now, this session was amazing on a couple of accounts. One, she was an Egyptian priestess, which I was like, I hadn't hit Egypt yet, and it was on my little past life tick board. I wanted to make it to Egypt. So she was a priestess in a beautiful temple, and there was a sarcophagus in the middle of the room, and there was a big Anubis statue, and they were doing a ritual, and it was a death ritual, or very similar to a death ritual. They would have an adept, a priest who had gone under a lot of training. He would lie in the sarcophagus. He would drink a elixir, and then which would take him very close to death, or if not to death. And he would then need to come back with the resurrection codes and then come back into life again. And they, as a priestess, it was her job with the rest of the priestesses around to really hold this space for the initiate, hold this space for them, chanting and just really staying in that space and holding it for that initiate to take that journey and come back with the resurrection codes. Now, we didn't go too much into this in regards to how the ritual and how everything was. It was more like her holding the space. In this instance, the initiate was successful. So he went back, he took the resurrection codes, and he was able to come back. And then, because it had been such a debilitating journey, he was able to sit there and then eat some food and have that space. Now, she went on to say that only the most well-trained initiates were able to take this journey, and she was very much a novice priestess. So her job was just to really hold the room and keep chanting so that it was easy for the initiate to take the resurrection codes and come back. They could just follow on with the chanting. So that was absolutely one mind-blowing for me, because I'd never heard of the death rituals. Later on, when I came home and I was looking at YouTube, I found out about the mystery schools and the resurrection codes and all of that sort of stuff. So that was really interesting. What else about this session that was really interesting was that afterwards, when I was talking to her subconscious, her SC, I said, look, this is a really like an amazing life. My client didn't believe that she had past lives, and I was informed that that life was actually an imprint. Now, if you guys follow the work of Dolores Cannon, I studied with Dolores Cannon. I've talked about QHHT before. In some instances, she mentions that a life can be imprinted. So what can happen if a soul has its first life on earth, on the earthly plane, in this school where we're learning everything? They don't want you to come in as a total clean slate. They want you to have some experiences and knowledges under your belt that your subconscious has. So if something happens, whether it be a good experience or a bad experience, you have the ability to be able to pull on experiences. Your subconscious mind, your higher self, can pull on experiences from elsewhere. Now, if you're a freshie, you're a new soul, you don't have any experiences. So what they do is they let you go into the great library that's on the other side, and they let you imprint on lives that are there so that you have that experience. So in this instant, my client, she had done many lives, but not on earth. She was here on earth for the first time as a human being. So they had imprinted various lives for her so that she was able to deal with them. And one of those was this situation. Now, you don't know if you've been imprinted generally, from my experience when I've researched it and looked into it, unless you actually ask your SC, and your SC will tell you. But that was the first time I had actually encountered someone who had been imprinted or had taken bits of lives from different things. Now, when I looked into Dolores's work a bit more, to go, Dolores, we didn't cover this in what I learned. Let's go through your books. she actually mentioned this is also a reason as to why many people believe that they were famous people. So when I started getting into past lives, I heard a lot of people saying, I'm Cleopatra, no, I'm Cleopatra, no, I'm Cleopatra, which is like, I don't understand how that works. This can actually be one explanation for that, is that if they've gone into the great library on the other side and they've looked at different lives and experiences that they want to put so that they know for this soul, they may take bits of Cleopatra's life to do so. So I thought that was very interesting and a little bit mind-blowing, and that's why I've chalked it up as the third memorable experience. So there are my three: the beautiful Hazel, who was abrupt and told me to go and F myself; the amazing tribal healer who had a secret stash of mushrooms in a cave that saved her tribe in the end; and then the beautiful Egyptian priestess who was imprinted. So if you have any questions, let me know. I will probably end up doing a part 2 because I absolutely love past lives. I love exploring them. I love the stories. I just love people's stories, whether they're here or past lives. So to me, everyone is a memorable one. I'll probably do another one on this. If this is something you enjoyed, let me know. Make sure that you have signed up and either click subscribe and check out so you can keep up with all the latest updates. And thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. I truly appreciate it. Have an amazing day. Bye.